It feels like 2026 is going to be a make or break year for James Gunn of the DCU. We've only had Superman, but we got Supergirl coming out. He's answering questions about Batman. People are requesting the budgets of some of his films. And we still have the looming acquisition of Warner Brothers that should be announced right around Christmas. This could be the beginning of the 10-year plan or the end.
It's going to be interesting to see which way this thing goes, because I don't expect anytime you have these corporate acquisitions and now Warner Brothers getting sold again, like everything seems to get shaken up each time. So God only knows where we're going to end up with this.
100%. And we do need to give a big shout out to the 616 comic books, the home of the sickest exclusive covers you will find anywhere. If you're interested in some of these awesome covers, go to the website. There's a discount code in the video description. Hope to see you there very soon. So the talk is all about Batman this week. DC Studios Go Ahead, James Gunn publicly addressed fan discussion surrounding the visual design of the new DC universe. Batman clarifying what elements are most frequently requested. Gunn stated that the three most common fan requests in order are the use of the blue and gray suit color scheme, the inclusion of a yellow oval surrounding the bat symbol on the chest, and the use of wide eyes for the cowl. Despite acknowledging these specific aesthetic desires, Gunn said, but all of those things I find less important than the character himself, the writing, and the person who plays it. I don't know why we're going to have two Batmen, going on in cinematic universes at the same time, but apparently it's going to happen. But if you look at the way Batman has evolved or devolved, if you want to look at that that way, in cinema, he's just getting more like realistic and dark. Like, who are we going to get? Fucking Jeffrey Dahmer Batman on the next iteration?
God, that Matt Reeves Batman was so dark that at one point I thought I was watching Alien versus Predator Requiem. I was pretty sure that the wolf showed up at one point, and I was like, oh, it's a Batman versus Predator movie. But it wasn't. I just couldn't see what was going on. Apparently Gotham only has the budget for 3 light bulbs in the city. Yeah, I don't know why you're going to do 2. I don't think we need a sequel to the Matt Reeves Batman. I think that what you should really be focused on is trying to get people on board with this, DCU Batman that ties into everything else. But I don't know. I just feel like this universe is just off to such a weird start that I don't really see how they can pull it all together.
What I would love is actually having the first really comic book accurate version of Batman on the big screen. We've never seen anything close to it.
No, the closest that you've ever gotten is when they did Mask of the Phantasm on the big screen, the animated series. But we've never had a live action Batman that was truly like Batman from the comics. And that's what I want to see. I want to see all the weirdness. I want to see Batman be a detective. I want to see him. I would love to see him in the blue and gray costume, honestly. You can do him in dark colors, dark blue, a dark gray. So that, you can have him blend in with the shadows and look really good on screen. Getting that classic Neil Adams look would be great. But yeah, I would like to see a comic book version of Batman. I want to see, I don't go to Batman because I want to see like, a really grounded and realistic take on Batman. I've gotten that. Nolan already did it. It was good for what it was. Let's not do that again. Let's actually try to go comic accurate. I want to see Batman fighting Killer Croc and not just, the Mr. Echo from Lost with his giant headpiece on, but like they didn't do anything for his body. So he just looks like a Funko Pop. I don't want that kind of Killer Croc. I want big, massive crocodilian Croc. I want a universe where when Clayface shows up, it's not just some scaled down version of him. It's just a big man made out of mud. I want all the craziness of the comics. I want, your KG beasts. I want I want Penguin running the Iceberg Lounge. I want, well, I guess, they probably won't go in this direction, but, I want Victor Zass with the marks on his skin. And, he's been in a bunch of stuff. He's been in Gotham. He's been in that shitty Birds of Prey, the Fantabulous Harley Quinn. They've done all that stuff and it's always wrong. Give me something that is comic accurate, that feels like it's jumping off of the page into the cinema. I'll tell you this. Jesse Snyder told me a story where he said his mom told him, I'm not really interested in Batman. I just find him boring. And Jesse said, that's because you've only been given the cinema versions of Batman, where Batman is the least interesting thing in his movie. And also, same thing with Marie. Marie does not care about Batman. And it's because she's only been exposed to the Batman movies and things like that. She'll go and she'll watch them, and but she's like, villain was
all he
good.
does is growl and jump on people.
Yeah, it's like there's nothing that they don't ever really dig into anything that makes him super compelling. So that's what they need to do. They need to do like the comics. They need to get into Batman's psyche. You need to actually care about what Batman is doing, not just waiting for, the Joker or, whatever villain actors playing the villain that's going to come in and chew up all the scenery.
This is going to be a Batman Bruce Wayne that we're introduced to, and he's already got Damian. Damian shows up when he's 12 years old. So he's going to have been Batman for at least over a decade, while the Superman is just starting out. I think it would have been way smarter to go with a younger version of Batman, to go with their younger version of Superman.
I think so too. I mean, we'll see. I mean, is that really what they're going to do? I know that's what James Gunn wanted to do at the beginning when he was like, we're going to do the brave and the bold, but I don't know that that's going to happen. It seems like a lot of the plans have been reconfigured as things have gone on. So, it's like, remember, we were going to get a Swamp Thing movie, and we were going to get The Authority, and we were going to get the Game of Thrones TV show on Max, where it's like, oh, what if Themyscira was Game of Thrones before Wonder Woman? And you're like, oh, you're going to do a Wonder Woman show without Wonder Woman, huh? Oh, all right. Let's see how that goes. It's like all those Sony movies, those Sony Spider-Man movies without Spider-Man.
Well, there's certainly been a lot of talk about the Superman movie and its budget, whether or not it made money or not. And there's already talk about the budget regarding Supergirl, as a recent profile of Supergirl actress Millie Alcock in Forbes Australia included an offhand statement claiming that the production budget for the upcoming Woman of Tomorrow film was $200 million. DC Studios go-ahead James Gunn subsequently refuted this figure on social media, stating the claim was not even a little bit true without providing the actual budget. This report followed earlier industry debate regarding the final production cost of Gunn's previous DCU film Superman, which also had conflicting reported budgets. The true cost for Supergirl remains unconfirmed.
We know that James Gunn is a liar. It's like he comes out and he lies constantly. And, far above and beyond what you would expect, people to do when they work for a corporation and need to do damage control. He goes above and beyond. He lies when he doesn't need to lie. Like, you don't even need to address this, but he'll come out and just lie. So, number one, I don't believe him. Maybe it isn't 200 million. He'd be like, it's not anything close to that. And it's like, 180 million isn't close to 200 million. That's $20 million apart. 20 million's a lot of money. That's not even close. So there's any kind of like nebulous thing that he could be, playing around with. That said, I don't really care what the budget is, and I don't really care if the movie makes money. I just find it interesting when they make a movie and it doesn't make its budget back because they spent so damn much on it. I'm like, how did you do this? How did you think that this Supergirl movie was going to go? I think the Supergirl movie tops out at 500 million at best, is what I would project it, just based on what Superman did.
That's above Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Right around it. There's no way it's going to do 500 million. Why would you do a variant knockoff version of Superman your third movie out? It makes no sense.
Right after. Is it the third movie or is it the second movie?
Clayface comes out first, I believe.
I think it's weird to do Supergirl right after Superman. I think that, you can introduce Supergirl and Superman, but I don't know that you, look, does Supergirl deserve her own movie? No, she barely deserves her own comic. There have been some good runs. Peter David comes to mind. But overall, she doesn't really carry a comic. I don't think she carries a movie. And she certainly doesn't carry a movie when the source material is Tom King.
That source material for Tom King was True Grit, which is an amazing story.
Yes. So if nobody's seen True Grit that goes to see, and actually, you know what? There's so many people that go to these movies that probably have not seen True Grit because they don't watch real cinema. So maybe it'll do okay. But yeah, I mean, I think that 500 million.
It's not going to do 500 million. That's crazy.
No, I think that's the best that they could hope for. That's like the best case scenario. Maybe there's just like nothing else. And like people like are just super interested in it. That's all the stuff that would have to happen. But I don't think it does. I think if it makes 400 million and if you've spent, if the budget is 200 million and then marketing on top of that, even if with tax credits, you're not going to make any money. You might not even break even.
We've had so many cases where people came out and refuted the cost on budgetary and all that kind of stuff. And it turns out that almost all those numbers are correct. Or they were actually higher than people projected them out to be when they actually have to go and disclose them.
That's why he's like, it's not even close to 200 million. It's like 300 million.
It's $250 million. Yes.
We spent that on a Supergirl movie. Yeah, I don't see Supergirl being a success.
Bad planning, but that's kind of one of the big problems, whether you love Superman or not. It's just been really chaotic, almost like he's greenlighting everything. Now we have a television series centered around Jimmy Olsen reportedly being developed. Leaked details suggest the new show will adopt a true crime mockumentary style with Skylar Gisondo reprising his role as Jimmy alongside other Daily Planet staff. Furthermore, the first season is rumored to focus entirely on the villain Gorilla Grodd. The decision to greenlight or a spinoff centered on supporting characters potentially without the involvement of Superman or Lois Lane has been identified as a high-risk strategy for the overall DCU narrative. Why did we do Creature Commandos before Superman? Why did we need a Peacemaker season 2 that's going to tie into any of this stuff if it was going to be totally, that disparate from other things that are being established? Why are we already going into a Supergirl movie? Why isn't Batman being thrown to the front of the line? Why isn't Wonder Woman being prioritized while you're thinking about making a Swamp Thing movie and a Waller TV show, and an authority movie? And it feels like a lot of his priorities are just completely out of whack, where he's just greenlighting cool ideas he thought he had one time.
I think Creature Commandos was probably, much like Peacekeeper season 1 was probably like greenlit before he became the head of the studio. So that got finished. And then, but then he was like, well, because it's mine, I want to fold it into, what I'm doing, because I want all my stuff to count. And that's how Peacemaker ended up getting transported from the Zack Snyder verse to the current DC universe, which didn't work and is tonally inconsistent. And, the idea that, we need to get Superman out on VOD so that you can watch it, so that you can then watch season 2 of Peacemaker because it's setting up the next Superman movie. Is it? So this big bisexual orgy that's setting up the Superman movie, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think there's a problem with these things existing within the same universe, but when you try to tie them closely together, or you say that they count closely together, I don't think it works. When Garth Ennis was writing Constantine and he was doing crazy stuff over there, they weren't telling you needed to read that to understand what was going on in The Flash. And speaking of The Flash, why are you doing Gorilla Grodd versus Jimmy Olsen? Why is the Flash better show up in that Jimmy Olsen show? So you better cast the Flash and don't bring us Ezra Miller.
Why are they doing a Western-themed Green Lantern show with Hal Jordan in his 60s?
Well, so that we can push him aside, so that we can have the more diverse Green Lantern take over and prove that he was better all along.
We've had one Green Lantern movie, and it was absolutely terrible, but now we're not even going to get Hal Jordan. It's just going right to Jon Stewart.
That's why you bring in Damon White Guilt Lindelof. So that he can come in and Tom King, so that they can work out all their therapy and try to make you pay for it.
Like, Tom, we would like you to write the Hal Jordan specific parts of the script. We feel like you'll really ingratiate the people to the character and want him to leave immediately.
And he's like, "Can I have Carol Ferris eat a rat?"
Yeah. It's like, why are we doing a Jimmy Olsen true crime mockumentary if you have a Lantern show that's based on true crime?
You want to do a Western style show. Why don't you just do a Jonah Hex show?
It only makes all the sense in the world, dude.
I'd watch the hell out of a Jonah Hex show, as long as it wasn't written by Tom King.
Here, get Brolin back.
I mean, I don't know,
he's probably too old now.
I mean, he's good. He was good. I don't
get
hold
Goggins on that bitch.
There you go. I don't know. His hairline's too far back. I guess you could give him a piece. Give him a hair piece.
Exactly. You can have him wildly disfigured by magic.
Actually, I think he'd do a good job. He's not really gruff, but he's got like a smooth kind of coolness to him.
Charm.
Yeah, you can just do a little bit of a rougher voice, and I think he'd be okay. Brolin was a good choice. I don't hold any of the flaws of that movie against him. Just like I don't hold that movie against Jonah Hex in general. Why are we not getting more Jonah Hex?
Well, I don't want him to do a Jonah Hex movie now. Let's establish Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, the Justice League, and then we can start going into
this is James Gunn. What you want to do is you want to do a Superman movie, then a Supergirl movie, then you want to do Ambush Bug, then you want to do a Green Lantern show, but the main Green Lantern is Gnort. This is all James Gunn kind of. Maybe we'll all be proven wrong, and this will turn out to be a great idea, and he'll take the DC universe to great success. But I don't think we're wrong.
I don't think so either. And of course, all this really does hinge on who ends up buying Warner Brothers. The bidding war for Warner Brothers escalated as the company's board began reviewing a second round of offers for all parts or some of its assets. The three primary bidders are Paramount, backed by Skydance, Comcast, and Netflix. Paramount is reportedly the only bidder seeking to acquire the entire company, submitting an all-cash offer, and is positioning its deal as the path of least resistance for regulatory approval. In contrast, both Comcast and Netflix are primarily interested in acquiring only the Warner Brother Discovery studio and streaming assets, including HBO, the film library, and DC Comics, excluding the traditional cable network businesses. A final decision on a potential buyer is reportedly expected around Christmas.
I just feel bad. Everybody at Warner Brothers has already gone through like multiple rounds of layoffs and cuts. It's the hammer's going to fall again.
First, they were acquired by AT&T. They realized immediately, being a communications company, we do not like this kind of risk, and there's a lot of debt involved. As soon as they could, they merged them with Discovery, with the idea of we're going to have to offload all the crap that's the dead weight and sell this off to somebody else. NBC Universal or Comcast has always been like the big leading rumor out there. And now we're here today, and it's going to be the third time in like 8 years.
I mean, the Universal deal seemed like the best option creatively because you get the theme parks, you'd get some of that stuff going on. It seemed like that was probably the best idea. Netflix obviously being the worst because Netflix will just completely turn everything that we love into hot garbage. Paramount, maybe we'll see how that goes. But at least if they're willing to take everything, including shit that is a money sink like CNN, that is probably the most attractive offer. Take all our crap with it. When you're selling your collection, you don't want people to come in and just cherry pick the good stuff. You want to just unload it all.
But the Paramount deal does come with a lot of Saudi and Middle Eastern money to go with it. Not sure I want that exactly in American entertainment.
Yeah, no, I prefer the Universal route. It's a shame, though. It's a shame that all these characters that we love are just wrapped up in the corporate world. It's like that there's now a ceiling to how good anything produced with them can be because corporatization is the death of creativity. But maybe we'll get some cool theme park rides out of it if it goes to Universal.
And if it goes to Netflix, maybe we could get a 3-season Batman show produced over 10 years.
Yes, but it will be Jace Fox, not Bruce Wayne.
Of course it will be. Netflix truly would be the worst case scenario for everybody involved.
Yeah. The only thing that's good that came out of Netflix recently was K-pop Demon Hunters, and they just bought that wholesale. They didn't develop it.
They had Frankenstein. I still think that was a pretty darn good movie.
I mean, that's Del Toro, though. He's going to deliver no matter what the project is, because you're not going to come in even as Netflix. When you give a bunch of money to Del Toro, I don't think that you get to come in and tell Del Toro what he's going to do. I don't think anybody gets to tell Del Toro what he's going to do. Del Toro is kind of like a weird creative madman, very difficult to deal with, but usually puts good stuff on the screen.
I do believe that James Gunn has set himself up for a fall here, backing up the Superman movie with Clayface, with Supergirl. I think he probably realized this was a huge mistake, but we're already into production. We're about to be acquired. I need to get the other Superman movie out there and into production, and maybe we're starting to film it by the time this gets through the regulatory process, and they have no choice but to let this movie get out there and potentially continue on the DCU. But if it happens before they start filming that son of a bitch, and they start seeing the returns on Clayface and Supergirl, which I do not believe will be particularly good, I think it could be the end of it, dude. Yeah. I think he has done a poor choice planning this out.
No, I think so too. But at least he got his wife some work and his friends some work. That's what really counts.
Well, his brother needed more work, and Maxwell Lord, like a hand in glove, right?
I mean, he was already Calendar Man, which also was a bad casting choice.
I've had the heebie-jeebies about this James Gunn hiring from the very beginning. If you'd like to check that out, this is what I had to say almost 2 years ago. Hope to see you there very, very soon.